Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing amazing. This is our next Strapi community call. Super excited. We have a lot of cool things to talk about. Before we get started with the majority of the content, say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're coming from. Hello, everyone. Let us know where you're from. How's the weather? I hope you're all doing wonderfully and amazing. And I'm just gonna do a quick call out. I had to replace my work laptop, so we're on a new laptop. So hopefully things will go smoothly. But I just want to make that call out. If I do have some difficulties with something navigating, it's all on me, and please bear with me. But I think it should be awesome. I'm very, very excited for today's call, today's announcements, and we're going to have Boaz, our ecosystem advocate, which basically everything to do with plugins. I'm so excited to talk to him about what he's been working on, pick his brain, and share some cool stuff. But while you're saying hello, let me kind of show you what is on the agenda. We're going to talk about what's new. We're going to talk about Strapi AI. What is that? It's awesome. I love it. We do a quick demo. And we're going to talk about Strapi plugins 101, or Strapi plugins in general. The thing that I love about plugins is that anything that you need to add to Strapi, and especially if you want to make it shareable with others, any functionality, any cool ideas, any cool things that you guys and girls have, you can do it via plugins. And I think plugins is one of those things. It's like they may seem intimidating to start if you've never done it before, but once you start to understand the basics, oh my goodness, the power that it opens up for you for Strapi. I actually gonna quickly do a share of a plugin I've been working on for myself, because I was like, I have this need, I have this use case. Wouldn't it be cool if I could do this in Strapi? And sure enough, you can do it via plugin. So we're gonna talk about that. I have a couple of community highlights, not to spoil anything. We have some cool starter projects for you that if you want to jump your Strapi application, you need to look at some examples. Obviously, we have Launchpad that you could check out on our website and our repo, but we have two other cool starters. And one is a community project being built. I won't ruin the surprise with which framework, but if you saw the notes, you probably already know. I'm going to let you all see it. It's a community project that I actually started building and working on, and I would love to share. And as people keep jumping in and saying hello, it's amazing to see all these folks from everywhere. It's cool. So what's new? Let's jump right into it. And we released a lot of cool features, and I would like to share some of the updates with you. And if you have any questions about them, you could always save them for Q&A or just add them in the comments, and we would love to have folks help. And I just realized something. I have to quickly fix something on my slides, do it live, right? It's like, oh my goodness, Paul, you shouldn't be fixing slides live, but I am going to fix slides live. Then I'm going to move it back. A live stream, that's what you get. You get a nature of live events, of things happening in real time, in live, including my errors. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so Strapi AI is out. This is pretty amazing. It's available to the public now. You could try it with Growth Plan, which you could try free if you sign up for a Strapi Cloud account via the CLI. It allows you to generate your content types using English, which is pretty cool. So you could also generate content from Figma, project file, add an image, or just prompting. And we'll do a quick demo later in this session to talk about it, but it's pretty cool. One of the coolest things I like about it is sometimes you're just not sure how to structure your content. So this is a great way to kind of chat through things, try things out before saving them finally. And to me, it has been pretty amazing. And I will show you more demo here, but you could see here, we are just prompting away, creating our content, which is pretty awesome. Next, we have Media Library AI, and you're like, what is that? So here's the thing, if you ever uploaded images to Strapi and you're like, oh my goodness, I have to add the alt tag, I have to do captions, that's so much work, at least for me. I mean, I always forget, by the way, I always forget to do that. So now when you upload your image, if you have that feature enabled, which you could do in the settings, Just select a thing called true, and you will be able to automatically generate your captions and alt text every time you upload an image, as you can see here. And to me, this is a lifesaver because, oh my goodness, this just tedious task that I just don't want to do all the time. And I think that's kind of like the point of AI, is to be there for you, to help you like with some of these tasks that you just want to make easier and automate them, right? Not to replace what you're doing with Strapi, but always to help you to, add those little things, help you with stuff. And this is kind of like what I love, like with these AI tools. Like AI tools are AI tools, but if you build things that are complementary to what users are already doing, it is amazing. And that's kind of stuff that I like to see. And I'm amazed that that's what we're working on. And so right now we have the Strapi AI architect, which allows you to generate your collections type from Figma website prompt. I'll show a little demo. You now have your AI to generate your uh, media, uh, alt tag, and all those other cool things. And then in the future, we have automatic AI translation, which is going to translate your text and your media, which is amazing because that's something that the community has been asking a lot for, and it's going to be amazing. And again, this is part of the growth plan that you could try out. You could actually, every time, I don't know if you did like a new Strapi project recently, but when you do npx create Strapi at latest, you're going to have this little CLI pop up that's going to be like, hey, would you like to sign up for cloud? And as you sign up for cloud, you get access to growth plan free to try it out. But it's pretty awesome because if so I just recently converted one of my accounts to growth plan because I want to have access to not just the AI features, but I want to have access to the releases, content history, live preview. You also get basic support and Strapi AI. And so it's pretty cool, especially if you're building a project for a client and you want to have those additional features. In my mind, it's totally worth it. And live preview slide here is missing. Of course, something went wrong. It's on me. But basically, you're able to edit your content in live preview, which basically allows you content editors to see what they're doing. And I'll try to fix the slide and I'll show it to you. But for the brevity of kind of now, I'll do it when Boaz is talking. But for now, like I'm gonna just kind of come back to it because I really do want to show you kind of like the preview feature. But it's basically opens up two panes, one on the left, which is where you see all your content. You're able to edit your fields in real time. And on the right, what you see is your actual preview of your website, which is pretty amazing. And man, I apologize though for the slide missing because I thought everything was going to go smoothly, but sometimes it happens. Yeah, can we have the screen share in full screen in here? It should be in full screen. So I'm kind of curious. So if you see my face on the side, man, live storm. It is what it is. I am sorry about that, but hopefully you could see all the slides well, and my face is the tiny part of the screen. But let me check this out here. Nope, that's not working. Okay, perfect. Anyway, so we're gonna keep going through this, and I will come back to this. We also have homepage widgets, which is kind of amazing. And recently, in the recent release, you're able to actually drag and drop and position them in places where you want. One of the coolest thing about homepage widgets, and this is something I'll show you later, but here you see that when you start your app, you have certain widgets available to you. But what's really awesome is you could literally build your own widgets for your clients. If your client wants to have some sort of SEO reporting, or you want to add some additional like widgets for whatever your clients' needs are, you're able to add them into the Strapi admin and add that functionality, which is amazing. Like for me right now, like the plugin that I'm going to show quickly later today, I do a lot of stuff on social. I want to take all the mentions from all the different social networks and I want to put them in one place. And what I want my Strapi to do is I wanted to capture all those mentions and display them on my dashboard so later I could figure out what to do. And by the way, if you're like, man, where do I start? How do we make widgets? How do we do basic plugins? Well, last StrapiConf, we had a really fantastic talk by presentation. Well, it was a workshop by Ben. And so let me go ahead and paste this in the chat here. But this is a blog post that he wrote and I published, which shows you how to get started if you've never done like stuff like that. And Boaz is going to talk a lot more about plugins and kind of what it means. But I just wanted to add this resource because it exists. And I think it is amazing that now you could add custom widgets, which are plugins that you could add additional functionality, which is really cool. And I know everybody's going to say, bro, we've been telling you this. How long? How long have we been telling you this? You have to make Strapi mobile friendly. And I know we heard you. And a lot of times, like Strapi is not super big company with infinite resources. We do have, very lean team. We always try to work on the things that most. And in the past, we just knew that a lot of our users use Strapi on a desktop. It is what it is. But now as the time goes by, some people want to do it on their iPad. Some people want to take a quick look on their iPhone. And so we are taking the first step, right? It's not completely done, but we're taking our first step to make Strapi fully responsive. And here you could see I have this browser that allows you to see multiple views, like iPhone, something like a tablet, and a desktop view. And you could see that we started with making things more responsive. You could specifically want to call out the navigation when you're in a desktop mode, the navigation's on the left, and when you're on your iPad or the iPhone, the navigation is at the top. So I know this has been something that a lot of people in my community has been talking about, and we heard you. And now we are taking our first steps, and I'm excited for this because I think the more accessible Strapi is on whatever device you use, the better experience you will have. And that is pretty awesome. And we also have conditional fields. If you haven't tried conditional fields, they're pretty amazing because they allow you to control the visibility of your fields in your content editor. So you could have a toggle, like let's say you have a lot of data, and it's like for editors that just like don't need to see it unless they really are working in it. So you could create a toggle, like, hey, show whatever data is, right? And then you click on it, and it will open up the UI to reveal more data, which is amazing. Here in this example, I did it quickly, showing like the blocks. I added a toggle, like show blocks, something along those lines. And then when you click on it, it will either show the blocks or hide the blocks. Like it makes your UI cleaner, and you only basically show the editor or allow them to pick and choose what they see based on the conditional fields. And now they are supported in custom fields, which is pretty cool and pretty excited. And then let's see, OpenAPI spec. Automatically generate your OpenAPI compliant specs. Actually, this is really cool. So, and I'm kind of excited for this. And here, if you quickly missed it, you run the command yarn strapi OpenAPI generate, and it's going to go ahead and generate your whole spec for your API. And then I have this nifty Swagger. I think they're called something else now, extension of my VS Code, and you're able to see all of your API. I think this is like really cool because like I love exploring how to use Strapi with some of these AI tools like Lovable, V0 is one of my favorites, and others. And sometimes like what I've been doing in the past is just showing the response from my API to help me generate the UI. But now if you have like the full specs and you're able to share that with another machine that's helping you generate something, it has better understanding of what your endpoints look like. And I feel like this will be really helpful for a lot of things, but also for those of you who like vibe coding and generating things. This will be able to give full context of what your API looks like to whatever service you're using to generate your front end. Pretty exciting. And we have huge cloud platform improvements, self-serve project transfer. So now if, let's say, you start a project for a client and you're like, hey, I need to transfer that project to the client, you're able to navigate to your settings and you will see the transfer ownership button. It will, when you click on it, it'll say, we're about to start transfer ownership. Are you sure you want to do that? If you're sure that you want to transfer your project to your client because you want them to manage all that stuff, you are now able to do it. Another amazing thing, we have downloadable backups. And this is like really cool. So like when you're working in production, you want to make sure that you're always backing up your data. And in the past, like you weren't able to kind of see it or take it without running yarn strapi export using a data transfer feature. But now you could actually just download the raw file, like SQL file, and just have a backup that way. And then you could port it on your home system to like your Postgres database, and you could like look and have it and work with it, which is pretty cool. And I kind of like that because this gives you that power of being like, hey, I need to be access to my data, and now you could do that. So it makes it easier to do that, and I'm glad that we have this feature. Now we have multi-environments. So coming back to like the downloadable backup, and when you have Strapi, right, you have project and clients in production, and you're like, but man, I'm going from my dev environment, I'm going to my production, and then you might do some testing. You could add an extra step there, and I'm sure a lot of you know, and basically create a staging environment. So you could go from local dev to staging, and then you can go and from staging to production. And each step of the way, by the way, you should have development, separate database, staging, separate database, and you should have your production, separate database. And you never push databases changes, like actual database changes, not code changes, from developer to staging to production, right? You should always pull data down, because the most thing you need to be able to do is not mess up your production database. That's why we have backups. That's why you're able to download them. And by the way, someone, Christoph, the Conditional plugin officially to the trash then. Well, the Conditional plugin, even though it exists, it hasn't been actively developed on. It still works, I believe, but having this completely removes the need for it, because now you just run it in Strapi, the command that I shared, Jan generate OpenAPI, generate, my dyslexia kicking hard today, and you will be able to just go ahead and use it. But yeah, like Christoph says, it still works. A lot of people still use it. But for me, like if I have this, I can just generate it natively. You know, like I don't want to install extra plugin, and so it's up to you, but they both work. And I just wanted to share that with you. And so awesome. So very excited for a lot of the cloud stuff. If you're not on cloud, by the way, and I know like it sounds self-promotional. I mean, I do work at Strapi. And by the way, I use cloud all the time. I have many projects in Strapi Cloud. And let me tell you, it makes life so much easier. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to make a hot take. People going to get really mad at me. I hate DevOps. Okay, let me rephrase that. I hate spending unnecessary time on managing my deployment experience if I don't have to. I really prefer building applications. I want to deliver things to clients fast. And Strapi Cloud has been amazing because I don't have to worry about setting up a database. I don't have to worry about CDN. I don't have to worry about email. I don't have to worry about file storage. I just set up Strapi Cloud. By the way, you could do it for free. We have the free tier now, and it's an amazing way and place to start. And then, but it's just so much easier. Like I just spin up a Strapi Cloud project, boom, done. Everything looks great. And to me, it's been saving me so much time. And I think in itself, that value alone is worth it. And then for those of you who need to like self-host things and stuff, you could still do that with Strapi, right? And so like I love the fact that we have the flexibility. But for me, it's like, what do you spend your time? Do you pay either somebody else, you pay for the service, or you do it yourself? And for me, my time, like I try to value like what is the most important thing I could do. And in my case and in my life, it's not worrying about the managing like deployment of my Strapi application. That's just me. Some people say skill issues, probably true. DevOps skill issues for sure, but we got Strapi Cloud, so I'm not worried about it. And so now the one thing I want to call out, and this is something that we've been hearing in a lot of conversation in the community. It's like, hey, you released so many features. You try like, and it's true. Like we want to make sure that we stay up to date, we stay competitive, we build the best headless CMS possible, which it is. Like you could look at the GitHub stars, but we do have some issues that we're working on fixing. And so we talked internally, and we are really committed to continuing and ramping up the stability and resolving issues on GitHub. We made tremendous effort in the past 30 days. We resolved so many issues, and we are going to continue to focus on just really improving those little things that we still have to do. And it's not saying that Strapi doesn't work. Any app that you have, right? Like Strapi is amazing. You start out of the box, but every application you have, it will have like a backlog of certain things, GitHub issues, and certain tiny things that are little paper cuts. And we're really committed to fixing them, getting them just ironed out, and not focus on building new features outside of Strapi AI translations, because that's fully requested. But our team really wants to focus on really getting Strapi like just as best as it can be. And I just wanted to make this call out because we heard you in the community. This has been coming up in some of the comments, and we are actually doing something about it. So if you were wondering about that, yes, we are doing something. And so, yeah, and then I just wanted to, yeah, for each their own. When you work on many projects, yes, and somebody says DevOps sucks, but I was going to say, like, yeah, like the point that like I try to make the stream fun, and like I do like say like the things that I suck at, but the point is like you got to pick the right solution for the project that you're building. And if you're working on something that has very specific deployment process, you have a team that handles your DevOps, your deployment, you just self-host, right? That's why it's available, and a lot of clients do. If you're working with a lot of clients and you have a very tight window on like deliverability, right? You building these websites for businesses. They want to be able to manage their website in, their Strapi instance, and you just want to create Strapi Cloud account, have them have access to it, and boom, you're done. So with that being said, like I don't mean to poke fun at people that love DevOps, because I know a lot of people do, and it's very important. But at the same time, it's like, what do you want to spend your time? But yeah, that's 100% true. And so now, like, let's chat a little bit about Strapi AI, and kind of like talk about. I'll do like a quick showcase, because I do. Let me look at the time. Oh man, we're moving. I want to make sure that I give a lot of time to chat with Boaz about plugins, because I think it's super important. But I do want to kind of showcase just a few features here. So in Strapi AI, you're able to import a project from Figma, and you'll be able to basically have the AI generate the collection types and content types. You can also do it from a project. So in this example, and I wrote we have a couple of blog posts on our website talking about how to build a front end for your Strapi instance using tools like V0. I think this is actually V0 here, Lovable or Bolt.new. And what's cool now, like when you have the zip in V0, you have this easy ability to kind of go ahead and pull the data, like the whole zip file, and you're able to just pass it in Strapi AI, and it will start generating the collection types. And then you can also like do by prompting, right? Like you could add prompts, you could just do prompting all the way, or you could start with Figma, you could start with your project file, and you can ask follow-up questions using the prompt. Now, I know I was going to show the demo, but looking at the time here, I'm going to move this after Boaz discussion. I do want to bring him on a little bit earlier, because he's been doing so much work behind the scenes around plugins. I want to make sure that we talk about plugins. I want to ask some questions about plugins. And so I will come back to this, but let's start and invite Boaz on the stage here so we could do it. And of course, Strapi AI is now available in Strapi Growth Plan, try 1 month free. But let's talk about plugin ecosystem. I want to make sure that we have a lot of time. And so I skipped this. Okay, we're here. And so Boaz, hey, how are you today?
Hey, Paul. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you for the introduction. Yeah.
Well, I know I gave an introduction, probably did a poor job, but let me have you introduce yourself. First of all, like if people ask you who's Boaz, he is probably the OG plugin developer who's been in the community longer than I've been here, to be honest. And so if we were to pick the brightest person to help us with plugins, Boaz would already be on top of the list. And the fact that he's here helping us with this stuff is amazing. But Boaz, do a quick introduction, like what you do and what do you have in store for us?
Yeah, so I can do a quick introduction. My name is Boaz, and I work as a ecosystem developer advocate for Strapi. which basically means all things plugin ecosystem. And as Paul said, this is something that I have been working on for a long time. The first plugin that I built for Strapi was in 2020, so that was 5 years ago. Yeah, and a lot has changed. The plugin API got a lot better, and way more plugins got released. Yeah, so it's really nice to see the plugin ecosystem grow. And now, since recently, I'm working for Strapi to help them grow it even more. So that is actually my goal as a ecosystem developer advocate, to make the experience for plugin developers as easy as possible, as well as people using plugins to have that whole process be as streamlined as possible. So yeah, just to share some things I've been working on. One thing is the documentation for plugin development. So there are a lot of APIs you can use in your plugins that are undocumented right now. For example, you can set up admin permissions and stuff like that, and this is all not in the documentation. So this is also one of my goals, to have the documentation be as complete as possible. So when people want to build new plugins, they have all the resources that they need. And then Paul, if you can go to the next slide. I think you have to do that for me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So, and then the next thing I'm working on is the marketplace. So the marketplace hasn't had any updates in a while. So I'm going to be working on the marketplace as well, reviewing new plugins coming in, but also trying to make the plugin marketplace as easy to use as possible. And then the next thing, if you want to go to the next slide, Paul, this is something I'm very excited about, and this is generators for plugins. And you might know this from Strapi itself. So you have this CLI, it's called yarn Strapi generate, as you can see here. And if you run that, you can basically say like what kind of component you want to generate for your Strapi application. So if you want to generate a controller or a service or a whole content type with all the API files with it, you can do it right here from the CLI. And I'm now working on integrating this whole system for plugins as well. And I wanted to do a quick demo to show how that works. So I'll be sharing the screen.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me stop my sharing for a moment then. 1 moment here.
Yeah. We got some
infinite mirror effect.
Okay. Cool. So let me see. I've set this up beforehand, and just to give you a quick recap of what I did, I installed Strapi with the quick start, as it states here on the documentation. And then in my Strapi application, I created a plugin with the plugin SDK. So I have that all set up right here. So you can see here's my Strapi application, and in the plugins folder, I now have a to-do plugin, and it's quite empty. So you can see there are some index files, but these are all empty. So then here in my terminal, you can see here on the top right, I have the compiler running for Strapi, and in the bottom right, I have the compiler running for my to-do plugin. And then now in the root of my Strapi application, I can run the generate command. Mind you, I'm running this on an experimental version of Strapi. So these plugin generators, this is a new feature that will release very soon, but currently I'm running it as an experimental. So yeah, I'll go ahead and run the generate command. And then for this example, I can generate a content type, and I'll call that task. Singular name is fine, plural name. It's a content type, and I want to create some attributes. So I have one attribute that's called name, and I'll get another attribute that's called is done to define if the task is done. And then these are all the attributes. And then here I can define if I want to add this content type to an existing API, a new API, or to a plugin. So I'll say that I want to add this to a plugin, and I'll add it to my to-do plugin. I'll bootstrap the API files. And then there you go. A lot of files are being generated, and my Strapi is being recompiled. And then now if we go to Strapi, it'll restart. And then if we go to the content manager, we can see here now we have the task content type. And also if we go to the users permissions plugin, and here in my to-do plugin tab, we can see that we have all the controllers that are actually for this new content type. And if we see how that looks in the code, then in my to-do plugin, you can see a lot of files have been generated. So for example, the schema has been generated for my task content type, but it's also been added to the index file of my content types, index file here for my plugin. And the same goes for the controllers. So here the task controller has been added, and the core controller has been added, as well as the core router and the core service. So you can actually see that all the factories, the core services, controllers, and routes are all being used in my plugin here. And that's really easy to set up. And this way you can set up by content type, but you can also use the generate command to set up just a single controller or a single service, and it'll all be nicely written up in your plugin right here. And that's about it. So you can also enable the permissions here, and then if we go to our API, you can see that the API route is now coming from our plugin. I haven't added any data yet, but you can see that the route is working. So this is all really exciting. And what I've shown here now is a way for you to run these generators from within your Strapi application. So you can create components for your local plugins, but these generators will also be added to the SDK plugin. So you can generate components, controllers, content types for your standalone plugins as well. And I actually think that, I'll stop sharing my screen here. I actually think that these generators can go a whole long way, because now it's just for content types and controllers, but we can also set up generators to say, hey, I want to generate a homepage widget for my plugin, or I want to generate a sidebar widget for the content manager. And this way you can really easily bootstrap all these components within your plugin. And that will hopefully help the plugin developers.
I think that's huge, actually, because you haven't shown me this demo. I'm like blown away, because I think one of the hardest things with building plugins is like, where do you start if you've never done it before? And every plugin that you build might have a specific use case for you. And to have some of these bootstrapped examples that you could literally generate from the generator, that's actually amazing. Because
exactly,
because right now, one of the biggest tips, and we're definitely working on improve. That's why we have Boaz here. It's like, how do you get good at building plugins? It's like, well, you start building a plugin, but how do you know how to build a plugin? Well, you can start with the documentation, but go on the Strapi marketplace, go to the GitHub link, open somebody else's plugin and see what they did, right? And it's like, that has been the recommended approach. And I still recommend looking at the plugins, because it's a great way to learn from others. But I think this is the issue that your things that you're doing will solve, where, okay, now you don't have to go through that arduous step of like literally diving into code. You could just use a generator, generate and bootstrap a lot of the stuff, and then you could look at the code there. But I still recommend, and that's really cool. And again, like Boaz said, we're going to improve the documentation. There's a lot of different APIs that some of you may just not be aware of, and that's on us. And that's why we have Boaz to help us identify that. And we will have a good process for you in the documentation to be able to kind of like get started and get stuff done. And before I jump into the demo for the Strapi AI, because I do want to showcase just some of the basics, and why build plugins anyway. And I think like plugins just open up Strapi in ways that people like. I think like it always blows my mind, especially when you see some of the plugins that are around. But it allows you to do something specific that is unique to your use case. And I'll just give this quick example here. So I was, like I said, I work in DevRel, and a lot of times I have to like respond to questions on Reddit and social media posts. And I wanted to make sure that I captured that data somewhere. And so one of the ways I started using my Strapi instance is for capturing data and just storing it there. And the reason why is because later you could come up with like some cool tools, maybe using AI, that allow you to do some sort of interesting reporting or do something useful with the data. For me, in my case, I just wanted to have all the mentions in one place where I'm able to easily go ahead and see all the places where the conversation is happening, be able to easily click on it and get a link. And the future updates that I want to add, and notice how here it takes me right to Reddit where I could go ahead and respond. But the feature that I want to add here is like we have so much conversation, and the power that gives me, because I have access to all the mentions, we actually have cool AI feature in our documentation, Kappa AI, which actually is really, really good at answering a lot of like questions that you may have, especially if you're just starting out. And a lot of the questions that I see on social, they're just very simple questions where the answer is in our docs. And being able to have, let's say, access to the mentions and access to our Kappa AI API, I could literally have it pre-draft answers that I could take a look at that help me to spend less time on the easy questions and focus on answering like harder questions where people want to see like a more in-depth code example and stuff like that. And just because it's me working by myself, I was like, wow, if I build this Strapi plugin that has all this data, it allows me to do something cool, useful with it. So like in my case, all like what I wanted to do is I wanted to ingest data every time there's a webhook from like the social platform that we use gets fired. It just will fire the hook that will hit my ingest API endpoint that you saw like in the slide here. It'll come in a second. And then I could save that data for later. I also want to expose that data via API, because in Strapi you have your admin API, which is more for the Strapi admin panel to be able to use your data how you want. Like for instance, I created a widget here, which uses the Strapi admin API to pull that data from Strapi. And then I also used Strapi's content API, which will allow me to expose that endpoint to the public. So I have a endpoint exposed to the public, which I could query and get the data for all my mentions and do whatever I want. If I want, I could add it to an N8N integration, which allows me to do something interesting, right? So the point what I'm trying to make with this, and I was going to go into a little bit more details, but I'm not going to for the brevity of this call, but you have the power in your fingertips to take your Strapi application and do amazing things with it. And for me, like I've been diving into plugin development. I'm definitely nowhere near as good as Boaz, but the reason why I make that call out is because when I started making plugins, it was tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, right? It's like there is a learning curve. But if you think about it, a plugin is a mini Strapi application, which is basically your React front end and for all purposes, Node.js backend. And if you look at some of the project examples of plugins, you have your admin for your front end, and you have your server for the server. So you're literally building these mini Strapi applications, which is basically React and Node, that allow you to add amazing features. So I did want to kind of add that call out. If you've never built a plugin, I highly recommend you give it a try. And Boaz is here to kind of help us with that. And let's, because we have Boaz here, let's answer some of the questions that we have here. And one question, Boaz, says, any good plugins to use as an example to modify the media library?
Yeah, I saw that question. The media library is actually one of the components which is not as easy to modify. So it's not as easy to modify as the content manager, for example. There are ways to do it, but Strapi does not provide its own APIs to do that. So yeah, I guess it all depends on what exactly you're trying to modify to the media library.
Here's a hot topic, Boaz, for you, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for this one. Do you think everything in Strapi should be a plugin?
Ooh, that's such a good question.
And Derek brought this up with me, and we had a discussion about it. And I want to start that conversation, and I'll probably gonna get in trouble for it, but I do, because this is a community call, and I do want to call out certain things that maybe it's a cool thing to consider. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So I think the main components that are used in Strapi, so let's take the media library and the content manager, I think these should be enabled always. So even if they were created as plugins, I don't think we should allow the user to enable or disable them. Then again, I do think it's a good thing to build these components as plugins, just only for the reason that Strapi itself will figure out how the plugin API works and like where are the undocumented APIs, which will be good for the community as well, because all that experience can be put on the documentation, and then yeah, more plugins can be made. So I think there's a truth to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we should internally continue this conversation, because I think this is put everybody kind of like, I think it'll be awesome. I think it'll be awesome. I'm not sure exactly what it looks like, but it's definitely something cool to consider. And in terms of like Strapi customizations, like obviously, there's a lot you could do. Some things are easier than others. And I'm looking at Patricio Lopez's question follow-up. I'm trying to set a default size of pictures depending on the folder to upload. And I think some of these like things would be much harder to do than others. And
I think so.
Yeah, and so that's one thing to keep in mind. But you can, and to be honest, I've done it to users' permission. I haven't tried exploring it with the media plugin. But when you start Strapi, you could actually run yarn Strapi console mode. And when you type Strapi, you see the whole dump of all the things that are available to you. And a lot of times you could use the register function to inject either additional middleware or add something to routes, or do something. We also have before and after create, like hooks. There's all these hooks available, but because like some of these kind of like wants, they're very unique snowflakes, you can't find readily available examples. So yeah, we understand that, but
yeah, I think you're touching upon a good topic. Like if there is some existing API like the media library and you want to like edit it, maybe edit how the API functions, then the register function inside your own plugin is the place. It's the place that is like the earliest moment in the whole bootstrapping of Strapi where you can inject your own code. And yeah, that's the place where you can like make the biggest changes for sure.
Yeah. Well, any other questions for Boaz? I'm really excited to continue pushing plugins. I think plugins, I've seen, we actually have open office hours, Strapi Discord, Monday to Friday, 12:30 p.m. CST time. If you have any questions, want to stop by, say hello, definitely stop on by. That way you could also like share your screen, talk to somebody, and we could help like with some of the questions. And by the way, like if I don't have an answer, I have an internal Slack channel where like I'll ask questions to our team to help me like help you out. But we try to do our best to help everybody. But some of the examples is just like so unique, and like for very specific use case, it's kind of hard to like have the answer readily available outside of trying to build that thing. But now, like what I wanted to do, I wanted to jump back and kind of give you a quick showcase of Strapi AI. And if you have questions for Boaz, definitely keep asking him in chat, and he could reply in chat. But we'll just keep this going. But thank you, Boaz. Amazing. I'm really excited.
Yeah. Thanks for everything. Thanks, man.
Thank you. All right. Let me share my screen. So, share my screen. Come on, you can do it. All right, there we go. The screen is working. So here I am. I have Strapi running locally, and here's Strapi AI. When you go to the content type builder, you have these three options to start with. Import from Figma. When you import from Figma, you need to enter your Figma API token. I actually did a full complete walkthrough on a YouTube channel of exactly how to set everything up and how to work. Just for the brevity, also because I don't have my API key handy here for Figma, I'm just going to skip here. But you could import files from your computer. You could either do a zip file that you downloaded. And what's really cool, we could try this as an example. I have this Next Strapi template starter code, which I did a while ago. It's just front-end code. So you could see here, all it is a Next.js project. It has my app routes, my different components from frequently asked questions, footer, hero. So what you could actually do, you could literally just go like this, code, download a zip file. It's going to download it to my downloads. And then I could go here, import from my computer, browse files. I'll go to my downloads folder. Here's the project I just downloaded. And I'm going to go ahead and click open. This is going to go ahead and pull my project. And now Strapi AI has context of it. When I click finish, it's going to go ahead and go through the project, analyze it, and think of like, based on the code in the project, what collection and content it needs to generate. And boom, you could see that it went ahead based on my code. It generated a homepage, single type, collection type, blog for our blog, our hero component, section component, content items, benefit items, content image, video component, card quote. And if you were looking, which is kind of cool, and you could see all the components here. You could see our homepage. And I love how we just went ahead, hey, listen, you're going to be using our dynamic zone. So let's go ahead and add some. And the cool part is, if you're not happy with this, by the way, you not have to save it, but you can also just ask follow-up questions here, which is pretty cool. And what I could say, it's like let's try this. For home page, make the content be in a dynamic zone called blocks, and we give it a try. And then see kind of like what it does and refactors. But the cool part is, like, notice how you're able to go ahead, literally pull in your full project code. You could do it from Figma, or you could prompting. And notice here, it did exactly that, which is, I think, much better, right? So now my homepage has blocks. The blocks are here. It's section heading, content image, video, card quote. It's pretty awesome. You might say like, hey, add SEO fields for the home page, includes meta title, meta description, and image, and see what it does. And so, like, what I like about this is that it's like a really good way to, I will add SEO fields, meta titles, and social image to your homepage. Yes, please. Let's see here. And it didn't do it. Sometimes it happens. Can you now add them? And let's see here. I hope I didn't like use up all my credits. Boom. So we added SEO. And I think because I didn't save, it overrode the content type. But don't forget to save. Skill issue on my end. But the cool part is that you could explore different variations of different things. And I like the fact that you can add stuff from your project, from all the different things that you're doing, and quickly iterate on ideas before committing to them. Because sometimes you want to try many different variations of the stuff that you create. So I'm pretty excited. We just released this, so any feedback that helps us to improve, definitely let us know. They'll be amazing, pretty good. And we do have some questions that we will get back to in a little bit. I just want to have few last showcases here. By the way, if we don't get to all the questions, which we will try to get to them. And if anybody in chat wants to look at the questions and type in your answers to help out, you can as well. But I'll come back to them because I still have a couple more things to show here. So I wanted to do some community highlights. And one of the things that I wanted to highlight is there's one of the biggest benefits of Strapi. It's a headless CMS. What does that mean? It means that you could use the same CMS to and deliver your content to multiple channels. And because of that, you have the flexibility to use whatever framework you like. You can use Next.js, you could use Astra, you could use Vue.js, you could use Angular, you could use Blazor app from ASP.NET if you wanted to. And one of the things I like, Strapi is open source, and it's amazing. And one of the open source projects that we really love at Strapi is TanStack. TanStack's amazing because I love kind of like Tanner's kind of view on what he wants to build, and it's built by the community for the community. So it really sits well with our vision. And so what I started to do, I started this community project. Right now it's living on my GitHub, Strapi TanStack Start Starter. And it's a community project that anybody could participate in. You could help me finish building it. Right now, I implemented some of the basic features, but I quickly wanted to show you, like, if you wanted to try out how to get started. So we have the Strapi TanStack Starter repo. You could go ahead and clone. So let me go just kill this for a second because I had a project running. And like clear. And in your terminal, if you just pull the repo, cd Strapi TanStack Start clear, and then if you run yarn setup, it will run a bunch of scripts to install the dependencies both for the Strapi Start front end in framework mode, and then it's also going to go ahead and set up Strapi backend. And once all the dependencies are installed, you could run yarn seed. This is going to go ahead and import the initial data. And then to start both your front end and back end, you run yarn dev. And so I want to just bring some visibility to this project because, like, I think the coolest part with like Strapi is you could support any favorite framework that you like. And also, I love building little example starter projects that you can use to jumpstart your application and have some examples of what it would look like. And so I did one for Next.js. I did one for Astro a while ago. I can't type my password while speaking. And once you log in Strapi, you're going to see that for our content, we have our articles, we have authors, we have our pages. Right now I have about and test page. You have tags, users. Global page is responsible for our top navigation and footer and linking and so on. And then we have our landing page, which is using our dynamic zones with different blocks. And if you go to localhost 3000, you're going to see the front end. And everybody, we should do dark mode. Dark mode, yes. And this is like a basic landing page that you see. We have our landing page. And the features that I've implemented so far is dynamic landing page, which is powered by Strapi Dynamic Zone. So users could easily modify their blocks, add additional blocks. Then we have our blog section. And the features that I implemented here in this TanStack project is we have pagination, amazing. We have search, why, right? It works. We have our single blog view and stuff like that. And the final feature that I'm working to implement in this particular project is just an example of how to each blog have a comment. And then notice that I'm logged in. You could log out and you could log in. The things that I implemented in this project is log in with email. You could also log in with GitHub. Right now, because I just freshly pulled this, it's not enabled, but it is all wired up. If you go in Strapi, in settings, and you go to providers, you can go ahead and enable any of the supported providers that we have here. For instance, GitHub. And in the project here, by the way, all the code is already set up for you. So if you wanted to kind of not build something from scratch and take a look at it, you could see it in code. For instance, if I open this, I believe it's in here. If you go to clients, if you're curious, and I'm not going to spend too much time. I think it's in routes. And some of you, this may look weird. API.connect.provider it's the dot notation to define routes and task you could do. You could also do it folder API, folder connect I provided. But I created this endpoint which supports all the providers that Strapi supports. Google, GitHub, and so that's all set up for you. And so if you want to try the project or help build out this project, definitely check out the repo. Let me put it here in the chat for you. But I just wanted to share that because TanStack is awesome and Next.js is awesome, Astro is awesome. And what I tell folks is when you're building something, pick something that works for the project requirement that you're building. And I find and get so much pleasure building these resources for you. And currently right now, I'm working on the TanStack Start. And what's cool, you could check out their website. You could learn more. And we are partnering with TanStack. Why? Because it's such an amazing project. And I just want to bring some visibility to what we're building. And finally, the last community call out that I wanted to make whenever I could find my slides is our partner Notum. We have many partners. They're amazing. And they actually built their own version of Starter. So we have Launchpad on our website, also amazing. You could check out as well. But I want to give you many, many different code examples that when you're building your Strapi application and you're kind of like, where do I start? Well, you have all these cool examples that you can pull and try from. So Notum created a Strapi Next.js starter. It's pretty amazing. Let me copy the link here. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to copy the link and share with you because it's really, really cool. And it's a mono repo, both for Next.js and Strapi. I'll also put the link for my project as well here, just so you all have it. Let me jump back on slide. And I think like one of the biggest things is to not start from scratch. And so you have all these resources. And by the way, Notum also did this amazing YouTube channel by Andrzej that literally shows you exactly how to set the project up. They're using Docker. You'll set up your database to set up your front end, your back end. Pretty amazing. So let me put that resource here in the description as well. And so the whole point, and if you're building something cool, hit me up, paul.bosowski@strapi.io. Let me put my email here. I'd love to do a community highlight of you on the next community call. And this will be awesome. And Notum is amazing. By the way, Notum is so cool and so amazing. I'm going to make this shout out because they know what's up. So they were at StrapiConf. It was so amazing to meet the Notum team in person. They help us with so much stuff. Amazing team. They know what they're doing. If you looking to migrate your project, you need help, Notum definitely. But the coolest thing was like, they were like, you know what? We're going to do something fun. So they made a 10 question, how well do you know Strapi quiz? And they made everybody on the team, or most of the people who were brave enough to take it. And it was very cool because it was like such a great way to engage everybody, because everybody could be like, what'd you get? What'd you get? Oh, wow, that's what you got? And so a lot of judgment going on internally. It was fun, all in good fun, all in good humor. So definitely check out their starter. It is amazing. I will invite them later to do a full deep dive, exactly how to use it. It has a lot of features, by the way. And so we'll invite them later to do more like full deep dive to show you how it works. But that's amazing. Quick call out, open office hours, 12:30 p.m. CST time. And let's do a quick Q&A. I'm sorry that like we're going a little bit over. And let me look at the questions here. And thanks for folks jumping in the questions. So let's see, questions here. Let's see. How can we filter Strapi webhooks to fire only on specific content types instead of all collections? Currently, create an update event trigger across everything, polluting our backend services. Any built-in options, best practices? I think you can use, off the top of my head, you could use Strapi. Oh my goodness, it's middleware events. So it's kind of like before and after create, but it's the new way of doing things. I wrote a blog with Ben about it. I'll find a resource and show you and share it in just a moment. But while we do that, let me look at other questions. Yeah, so there is a mechanism. And by the way, if you still need help, stop by open office hours. It doesn't have to be today, anytime you could help, but let me find the link to the resource for it. Yeah, we created this article called "What are the document service middlewares?" I'll put it in the link. And so you can basically create hooks that will listen on very specific content types, and you could have a different hook after like you create the content to fire for that event. So let me share this article. I think this will have the answer for what you are looking for. So let me put that, type in my answer here and share, and then I'll also share it in the chat here. All right. Yep. And then, yeah, by the way, thank you all helping me out with the questions. And then let's see, Slug being unique UID, it seems logical to find one by Slug because in terms of SEO. So find one uses ID, but the thing is, like, if you need to find content by the Slug, it's actually very easy to do. So you call the find method and you literally filter on the Slug. And that's basically what I've been doing in all my applications. Speaking of that, let me go. Did I close that window? Paul, come on now. Come on now. What are you doing? If you look at Strapi TanStack Start, we go to clients, we go to sources, we go, I believe I put it in data. I'm calling server functions. So we have articles. And if we take a look at get articles, get article by slug. So notice here, I'm literally calling the find method. And all I'm doing is just filtering the slug. You get the same functionality, and you don't have to try to customize the find one component. So basically, in many of my applications where I do need to use the slug, I just use the find method, filter on the slug, works beautiful. And find one, I keep it as is, because there's certain cases where you just need to find stuff by ID, and that's exactly by document ID, and that's exactly what it does. And so that's kind of like what I would say to do. And so let me plop that into the answer. Boom. Is there a plugin to add UID slug to find one? Okay, that I hope what I just said. Find many somebody. Okay, thank you, Boaz, for answering. Boaz, you're the best. You answered all the questions that we had. Amazing. But yes, so if you have additional questions that we couldn't answer on this community call, the most important thing that I want to say to you, we have open office hours Monday to Friday, 12:30 p.m. CST time. You're always welcome. And if I don't know the answer, I could always pass it to the team. You could also ask us questions on Reddit. But the best place, just join the community call. Come hang out with us Monday to Friday, 12:30 p.m. CST time. I'm always there. But with that being said, because we are hitting that hour mark, and I definitely want to be mindful of your time. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you had a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to continue to share all the cool things Strapi is doing. I'm really excited for all the things that Boaz is doing. We're going to keep you posted on all the plugin stuff, because I want to encourage everybody to continue building plugins, exploring the plugin ecosystem. And so we had a lot of fun. And if I missed something to mention, sorry about that. And because we talked about a lot of stuff, I'm sure there's some things I forgot. And I'm going to keep posting stuff on social. And with that being said, let's move the conversation to Discord. Whenever you have time, we're there Monday to Friday, 12:30 p.m. CST time. And thank you so much. We appreciate all of your support. It means a lot to us. Huge shout out to everybody on our team. What a lot of people don't understand sometimes is that we are a company with a limited resources, limited team. We all work hard. And sometimes, like when we see like some of the comments that say, hey, you need to do more of this. Listen, we hear you. We know. We're trying to prioritize things the best that we can. I just want to Shout out to everybody on our team, from sales, marketing, to our engineering team, to support, our docs, QA, everybody, because you're all doing an amazing stuff. And as lean as our team is, I am amazed on all the things that we are able to deliver, because everybody on our team really wants and is committed to making Strapi being the best headless CMS out there. And so thank you for all your support. We always listen to you. With that being said, thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.